The Tom Daniel Show. Keep listening, keep learning. The Tom Daniel Show.
You're listening to The Tom Daniel Show, and I'm your host, Tom Daniel. Happy New Year's, everybody. I'm excited to start a new year on the Tom Daniel Show. I really am, because this is where we like to look into the dusty corners of musical history and discover that half the songs we sing with confidence, we probably shouldn't. Today's episode is a very special one for a couple of reasons. It's not just January 1st, the one day of the year when humanity collectively reinvents itself and then promptly forgets by January 8th, but it's also our 50th episode. And what better way to celebrate than by exploring the world's most beloved and most misunderstood New Year's song, Auld Lang Syne. Okay, now you've sung this song. You've slurred this song. You've held hands in a circle and swayed to this song while questioning your life choices. But I'm willing to bet you don't actually know what the words mean. Or who wrote them. Or why we sing this at midnight. Or how the melody traveled across countries like a little musical hitchhiker. Today, we will answer all of that and give Auld Lang Syne the clarity that New Year's Eve resolutely avoids. So let's begin with the title, which has baffled English speakers for centuries. Auld Lang Syne. It is not a legal term or a warning label or even a Scottish allergy medication. Or, as I've heard someone actually insist, Auld Lang Syne, which sounds like a retired billboard. The phrase is Scots, and it literally translates to old long since, or in a more contemporary translation, for old time's sake. In other words, the song is not about the future at all. It's about memory, friendship, and the mysterious human urge to assess the past while stepping into the new year wearing a paper hat, blowing into a noisemaker, and holding a plastic flute of champagne. Everybody's favorite Scottish national poet, Robert Burns, famously sent the song to the Scots Musical Museum in 1788, and he wrote to accompany it, "I took it down from an old man." Now, this is what folklore is politely called the Burns maneuver, which is what happens when Robert Burns writes something gorgeous, claims he really heard it somewhere else, and then the entire Scottish nation says, "Yeah, that tracks." Burns did indeed base the song on older fragments. Versions of the phrase Auld Lang Syne appear in Scottish poetry as early as the 1500s. But the structure, the sentiment, and the emotional arc of the song we know are unmistakably Robbie Burns. Should old acquaintance be forgot, and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot, and auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet, for auld lang syne. Think of Burns less as a composer and more of a master editor, gathering loose lyrical threads and weaving them into something universal. So I guess the truthful answer is Burns did write it. Burns did not entirely write it, and the folk tradition did what all folk traditions do: collaborate without giving co-author credit. Now here's something most people don't realize. Auld Lang Syne was not originally sung to the melody that we use today. Burns actually suggested a different tune, a somewhat livelier, jauntier melody that sounds like it was designed for dancing after your fourth beer. It goes by many names, by far my favorite of which is the Miller's Maggot. So you have to hear it. Imagine it's New Year's Eve and a room full of drunks are loudly counting down 3, 2, 1, and then you hear this tune. Just a bit outside. The melody we now use, the reflective, gently rising tune you hear at midnight, came later and probably from the early 18th century. It wasn't paired with Burns's poem until after his death, but thankfully it was a much better match, and it stuck. And good thing, too. The Miller's Maggot tune would have made New Year's Eve feel like a Scottish ceilidh, where somebody lost the sheep. Now let's examine the lyrics. The song opens with a rhetorical question. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? In modern English, this means, are we really supposed to forget our old friends? And the assumed answer is, no, absolutely not. The song then proposes the obvious solution to the problem of human memory. We'll take a cup of kindness yet. In other words, let's have a drink for old time's sake. This is, at its core, y'all, a drinking song, but a sentimental one. Where some drinking songs boast about misadventure, this one quietly asks, what do we owe the people who shaped us? What does it mean to remember? Can the past be honored without becoming a burden? It is astonishingly tender for a song often belted out by people whose resolutions have already failed. You're listening to The Tom Daniel Show, and we'll be right back.
What are you waiting for?
The Tom Daniel Show.
What are you waiting for?
The Tom Daniel Show.
What are you waiting for? The Tom Daniel Show. What are you waiting for? The Tom Daniel Show.
And welcome back to The Tom Daniel Show, and Happy New Year to Mary Mac. Hey, the world's most perfect band. So how did Auld Lang Syne become a global New Year's tradition? Well, here's the remarkable part. The song actually has nothing whatsoever to do with New Year's Eve. There is no reference to midnight, no reference to new beginnings, no reference to that moment at 12:01 when you suddenly regret texting your ex. So how did it become the New Year's song? Credit or blame goes to one man, Guy Lombardo. Guy Lombardo was a Canadian band leader, and he first played Auld Lang Syne on American radio during a New Year's broadcast in 1929, and he played it again in 1930, and by 1931, it was a tradition. For decades, his orchestra performed the song immediately after the countdown in Times Square. Eventually, Americans believed this was some sort of ancient custom, because nothing becomes ancient custom faster than something we saw on TV as children. The irony is delicious. A Scottish song about remembering old friends becomes a New Year's anthem because a Canadian band leader decided it had a nice vibe. Global culture is held together by nice vibes. And once the song became America's soundtrack for midnight, the rest of the world played copycat and adopted it too. But it also had deep roots in other places. I'll bet you didn't know that in Japan, the Auld Lang Syne melody is used as a graduation song called Hotaru no Hikari, Light of the Fireflies. And it's traditionally sung at school ceremonies and even at store closing time. Nothing says, please leave the supermarket, quite like a Scottish tune rearranged for childhood nostalgia. In South Korea, that same melody appears in farewell songs. In Thailand, it's used at funerals of all things. In Taiwan, it was once played at army recruitment events. And in India, it is still sometimes performed in military parades, which to me is the great paradox. Auld Lang Syne is a global anthem for endings, even though it was originally about remembering the past, not leaving it behind. It is, in effect, musical punctuation. It says something is finished, something else is beginning, but first, let's honor what came before. Now, how about the emotional engine of the song? What gives Auld Lang Syne its staying power? Well, there are two things. One, the melody rises gently and then resolves with dignity. This simple melodic trick makes it feel reflective without being mournful and hopeful without being cheesy. And number two, the lyrics express a universal experience. Friendships that drift, time that slips, memories that remain, reconciliation after distance, affection without sentimentality. There's a Dan Fogelberg song called Same Auld Lang Syne that talks about bumping into an ex-girlfriend at a supermarket on a snowy Christmas Eve, and they spend the evening sharing beers and laughing and reminiscing about good, happy times. This is the perfect rendition of this song in terms of context. Dan Fogelberg got it exactly right. Auld Lang Syne is a song for old classmates, old lovers, old friendships that survived more than they should have, and the people we wish we called more often. It's sentimental but not fragile. It's nostalgic but not bitter, and it's timeless but always sung slightly off key. You know, Joni Mitchell was talking about a different song when she said the following, but it still fits Auld Lang Syne perfectly. She said, the more voices on it, the better, and the more out-of-tune voices on it, the better. That's definitely what Auld Lang Syne is all about. One lonely voice just isn't enough. It takes a full, imperfect choir to achieve the proper depth. Now, what about that hand-holding thing, the circle? Where'd that come from? Well, the famous New Year's Eve tradition, everyone holding hands in a circle by crossing arms and grabbing the hands of the people beside them, does not come from Scotland. It comes from British rugby clubs. Yep. The international symbol of New Year's sentimentality originated with a group of men who considered mud a lifestyle choice. From rugby culture, the crossing arms circle spread to British social clubs, then to New Year's, then to America, and then to the world. So the next time you're swaying in a circle at midnight, remember, your posture is courtesy of a group of men who likely sang the song while covered in grass stains and lots of questionable decisions. So in conclusion, what is Auld Lang Syne? Well, it's not a New Year's song. It's not a midnight countdown song. It's not a farewell song. It's not a graduation song. It's not a drinking song. Or rather, well, I guess it is, but in the most gentlemanly way possible. It is, though, at its heart, a meditation on memory, friendship, and the bittersweet human desire to honor our past while stepping bravely into the unknown. We sing Auld Lang Syne because humanity needs rituals. We sing it because endings are uncomfortable without music, because traditions don't have to be ancient to be meaningful, and because it reminds us that old friendships matter, old days matter, and old kindnesses matter. And if you ask Robert Burns, he'd probably say, we took it from an old man. Thank you for joining me on this very special 50th episode of The Tom Daniel Show. I also publish written work on Substack at the Academy of Southern Music. Until next time, may your new year be kind, may your memories be warm, and may your resolutions last longer than a week. May all your Auld Lang Synes be honored, not forgotten. This has been The Tom Daniel Show. Keep listening, keep learning.
Keep listening, keep learning. The Tom Daniel Show. Keep listening, keep learning. The Tom Daniel Show. Take a break from usual routine and tune into the Tom Daniel Show. You'll discover the world of